When the chains of slavery tightened across Jamaica by the 17th century, a few brave souls chose rebellion. They escaped to the mountains and formed a new society where freedom reigned. These are the Maroons, the fierce guardians of liberty.
For over 300 years, these rebellions stood their ground against the might of the British Empire. From the shadows of the jungle, they waged a war for survival. This is the story of the Maroons, a story of courage, resistance, and unbreakable spirit.
It was in the heart of Jamaica's Blue Mountains. A secret community was born, one that defied empires, resisted slavery, and fought for freedom at all costs. This is the untold story of the Maroons, the warriors who carved their legacy into the hills and hearts of the Caribbean people. The visuals and voiceovers used in this video were generated with the assistance of AI technology. While every effort has been made to ensure historical and cultural accuracy, some artistic interpretations may differ from reality. The AI-generated imagery and voice are intended to enhance storytelling and should not be taken as exact representations of historical events, individuals, or locations. Please consult primary sources and credible references for detailed historical research. In the rugged Blue Mountains of Jamaica, far from the burning cane fields and the watchful eyes of the colonial masters, a new chapter in history was being written, a story of defiance, endurance, and the undying quest for freedom. This was the tale of the Maroons, brave men and women who escaped slavery and built thriving communities that would challenge the power of the British Empire. It was the mid-17th century, a time of great turmoil. In 1655, British forces had seized Jamaica from the Spanish, and with them came the expansion of brutal sugar plantations. For the enslaved Africans forced to work under the scorching sun, there seemed to be no hope of freedom, except for a few who dared to dream of escape. Under the cover of night, small groups of enslaved Africans fled into the mountains, slipping through the dense jungle. The thick foliage and the steep slopes became their shield, concealing them from their pursuers. These brave souls had escaped not just for themselves, but for future generations, determined to carve out a life far removed from the cruelty they left behind. These escapees would become known as the Maroons. High in the Blue Mountains, life was harsh, but it was free. The Maroons cleared small plots for farming, growing yams, plantains, and cassava in the hidden valleys. They gathered food from the forest and hunted wild hogs, while crafting homes camouflaged within the jungle's embrace. Their new society was built on the principles of self-sufficiency and resistance. The Maroons developed a deep knowledge of the land. They became masters of guerrilla warfare, using the terrain to their advantage in battle. Colonial forces repeatedly tried to hunt them down, but the Maroons were elusive, blending into the hills and using secret paths that only they knew. Their cunning, combined with their fierce fighting spirit, kept them free despite constant threats. By the late 17th century, stories of the Maroons spread across Jamaica and beyond. The enslaved on the plantations whispered about the free people hidden in the mountains, their hearts filled with hope. The Maroons became a symbol of defiance, proving that slavery could be escaped, and that freedom, once tasted, was worth any price. In response, the British colonial government waged war against the Maroons. For decades, they sent soldiers to crush the Maroon communities, but the thick forests and high ridges of the Blue Mountains provided natural defenses. The Maroons, armed with handmade weapons and unbreakable wills, ambushed their enemies with precision. They became legends, known not only for their strength, but for their tactics, laying traps, confusing their enemies, and vanishing into the trees like ghosts. the Maroons preserved the African traditions that had been torn from them during the Middle Passage. Their society was a mix of different African cultures brought together in the hills of Jamaica. They sang songs of home, drummed rhythms of resilience, and practiced spiritual traditions that kept them connected to their ancestral roots. These customs became the heartbeat of Maroon life. The drum was more than just an instrument. It was a tool of communication. When danger was near, the drums echoed through the mountains, calling the Maroons to arms or warning them to take cover. The sound of those drums still carries a deep significance in Jamaica today, a reminder of the fight for freedom that shaped the nation. By the early 18th century, the British realized that the Maroons could not be defeated by military force alone. In 1739, the colonial government negotiated peace treaties with the Maroon leaders, recognizing their freedom and granting them land. In return, the Maroons agreed to stop sheltering runaway slaves and, in some cases, to assist the British in capturing new escapees. This bitter compromise ensured the survival of the Maroon communities, but it came at a heavy moral cost. Despite the terms of the treaties, the Maroons remained fiercely independent, maintaining their culture and their defiance of colonial rule. Their villages in places like Akampong and Nannytown continued to thrive, and their legacy of resistance echoed through generations. The legacy of the Maroons is a story of survival, ingenuity, and an unbreakable will to be free. For over 350 years, their descendants have lived in the Blue Mountains, preserving their culture and honoring their ancestors' fight for independence. The hills that once shielded them from the eyes of the British still stand as silent witnesses to their defiance. Today, the Maroon communities of Jamaica are a living testament to the power of resistance. Their music, rituals, and language are symbols of a people who refuse to bow to oppression. The Maroon story is woven into the fabric of Jamaican identity, a reminder that freedom is a right to be fought for, and that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can rise above and claim its place in history. As you listen to the beat of the drums that still echo in the Blue Mountains today, know that those rhythms carry with them the legacy of the Maroons, freedom carved into the very heart of Jamaica's rugged hills. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed learning about the incredible legacy of the Maroons, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories of Caribbean history. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Join the conversation in the comments below. Let us know what stories from history you'd like to see next. Together, we can keep these powerful stories alive.